Today's video is going to be all about the sexiest date night fragrances for women. So if that's your kind of thing, then let's get into it. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if it's the first time you are visiting. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Hayley and I review fragrances. So as I already mentioned in the intro, today's video is going to be all about date night scents. And I have picked a variety of different scent types because I feel like for date night, there's not just one type of vibe. So I have different categories to go through. So I guess without further ado, let's jump into the first fragrance. The first fragrance is from Xerjoff, specifically the Casamarati line, and this one is Lira. I'm sure many of you already know about Lira. I used to own this a couple of years back and I regretted decluttering my bottle. I've thought about it ever since and I got it back in my collection a couple of months ago and I am so glad that I did because I absolutely adore this scent profile. It is the most delicious, gourmand, cakey scent that smells like lemon drizzle cake or like a lemon and blood orange drizzle cake. One of the best cakey gourmands in my opinion, and I do know lots of people already agree with that statement. I feel like Lira would be perfect for date night because it will give you that edible, delicious vibe. It's a very specific type of date though. I wouldn't necessarily say this is the classy, fancy dinner kind of date. This is more of a date at home or going for drinks, or the kind of date where you want to draw that person closer to you because it does smell edible. It is going to make whoever you're on that date with want to nuzzle inside of your neck, in my opinion anyway. So I wanted to include an edible, delicious type of gourmand as a date night recommendation because I feel like there's always going to be the need for this type of fragrance for specific dates. So yeah, my first recommendation is Lira. And if you have been wanting to try this and never sampled it, I would highly recommend getting a sample, especially if you like gourmands, because can you really be a gourmand lover and never have tried Lira? I'm not sure. This is definitely one of the most popular ones out there. Let me know if you like it. Let me know if you don't like it, but I would love to hear what you think about Lira. Next up is Initio's Absolute Aphrodisiac, and this one had to make the list. It is hands down one of the sexiest fragrances within my collection. Now this is a very different type of date night to Lira. This is a sexy, steamy type of date night. This, to me, and sorry for being crude, this one smells a little bit like sex in a way. It has this really sensual musk in it, which is incredible, so hard to explain. In essence, this is a dark, sensual, sweet vanilla with lots of musk, and it's a very attractive musk. It has a slight saltiness in the background, but this is definitely a fragrance that you need to sample on your skin because of the musk in here. It's going to smell a little bit different on each person, but for date night, I feel like this one you can't go wrong with. It gets a lot of compliments. It's very different. It's not necessarily a super pretty and feminine scent. Instead, this is a dark, daring, sexy scent in my opinion. And again, depending on what type of date you're going on, I feel like there's definitely a place for Absolute Aphrodisiac, depending on what you are trying to achieve in that date. And I know that sounds a little bit strange, but I do feel like fragrance has such an impact and it can really tell a story. And this one is definitely the type of fragrance that is attractive. There's no doubt about it in my opinion. And again, I really want to hear your feedback. Do you like this fragrance? Do you dislike this fragrance? I'm super curious. Let me know down in the comments, but it's one of the sexiest fragrances in my collection without a doubt. Next up is Crazy in Love by Majouri. And this fragrance is relatively undiscovered in comparison to some of the others in this video. And this is for more of a romantic date setting, maybe a date in the park, a picnic in the park, or a romantic date in general, dinner for two, candlelit, that type of vibe. I guess the name explains it, Crazy in Love, but this is more of a sweet, fruity floral in a way, but it has a white chocolate note and also a cupcake note. There's also a tart and juicy quince in here, which makes this a little bit more unique. It does have a mass appealing DNA to it. Very, very likable, very attractive and pretty. And it's why I think this makes a good romantic scent, because men typically enjoy sweet fragrances on women. Now, that's not to say that all men prefer sweet fragrances on women, but just an overall generalization. You've also got lychee and kiwi, and you get those sweet kind of tart, juicy fruits up top. And then there's a beautiful orchid note, lots of musk, a little bit of orris in the base, and then you kind of get that sweet, I don't want to say gourmand. I wouldn't call this a gourmand fragrance. I know it has cupcake in here and I know it has white chocolate, but I feel like those notes just overall give this more of a sugary, sweet vibe. And I feel like the note composition is quite unique. But as I've mentioned, it is a mass appealing DNA in my opinion, in terms of I don't find it challenging. I think lots of people will like it. And I think it's a very safe bet for a date night, specifically if it's more of a romantic type of date night. I will try to review this brand a little bit more. They have an incredible tea fragrance that I will share in a future video. But if I can find a sample of this one, I will link it in the description below. Next up is Maison Crivelli's Hibiscus Mahajad, and how could I make this video without including this fragrance? It was my scent of the day, not yesterday, but the day before. And when I woke up in the morning, I could still smell this fragrance. It has the most incredible longevity. You don't need to overspray. I think I did 4 or 5 sprays. It sticks to your skin like glue, has the most insane scent trail. Now, this fragrance, I feel like can suit any type of date night, to be honest. You could wear this for a romantic date night, you could wear this for a casual date night, but you could also wear it for those sexy types of date nights too. I would say this leans a little bit more on the sexy side, but if you've never smelt Hibiscus Mahajad, in essence, it's rose, hibiscus, and vanilla, but there's a mint note in here, which is not super detectable, but it gives this cooling effect to the fragrance. It's not super green, but it gives it just a slight edge. And then it almost has this syrupy hibiscus tea vibe about it. The rose is sweet. And a lot of people say they can smell Delina in this DNA. And I get a little bit of that, but I would only say maybe 25% of that type of DNA. It's super unique in terms of the scent profile. That hibiscus and that mint just does something, I don't know, so spectacular. And this is popular for good reason. I have gone through a 10 ml atomizer of this one, and I've got another one in my handbag right now. And because it's so strong, you won't go through this bottle super quick. So yes, it's an expensive fragrance, but in terms of how many sprays you need, you won't go through this as quick as some of the other fragrances that you may need to overspray. Anyway, I am rambling. This fragrance has to make this list. Highly recommend it for a date night. Let me know what you think about Hibiscus Mahajad. The next fragrance is Tiziana Terenzi Libra, and Libra is actually my star sign. And I don't know what took me so long to test this fragrance, but I smelt it in Harrods, and it's definitely one of my favorite Tiziana Terenzi fragrances. This one is so underrated. And if you are a musk fragrance lover like me, you absolutely need to get your nose on this one. The bottles are so heavy. I think the cap probably actually weighs more than the bottle. And I just love the design of their caps. But anyway, we're not here to talk about the packaging. We're here to talk about the scent. And this would make a fantastic date night scent because it has that attractive musk in it again. Like Absolute Aphrodisiac, however, this isn't a heavy vanilla scent too. This is a little bit more airy, and it has a mixture of florals in here, which goes beautifully with that musk, but it has, in my opinion, a pretty unique DNA and an airiness to it, which makes this a little bit less dense than Absolute Aphrodisiac. Now, it does have vanilla in this fragrance too, but you have some fresh citruses up top. There's bergamot, there's grapefruit. You've also got lemon, rose, and tuberose. The musk is in the base along with that vanilla. I believe there's a dose of ambergris in here, which gives this a kind of sexy saltiness, which I really enjoy with the musk. It has a little bit of that Tiziana Terenzi DNA. And what I mean by that is Tiziana Terenzi to me has a very specific DNA. It has this fruity musk throughout a lot of their fragrances, and it is here. However, it's quite subtle in comparison to some of their other fragrances. And I just think this is incredible. incredibly sexy. It has this warmth to it, which is really hard to explain. But this is a fragrance that absolutely blossoms on the skin. You have the fresh citruses, as I've mentioned. You've got some florals in here. You've got that really sexy musk, a little bit of vanilla. There's some oak moss too. But it's a very sexy fragrance. I wouldn't recommend this for a romantic date night. I would recommend this more for a sexy kind of date night, maybe a stay-at-home Netflix and chill kind of date, those types of vibes. But if you've tried Libra by Tiziana Terenzi, do let me know what you think about this one, because I don't hear many people talking about it, and I think it's really underrated. So if you like a musky fragrance, and if you are a fan of Tiziana Terenzi, definitely get a sample of this one and try it, because I think it is such a fantastic fragrance. And the next fragrance is from Commodity, and this one is Velvet. Now, I have both Velvet Expressive and also the bold version. If you don't know anything about Commodity, they do each fragrance in 3 different types of scent spaces. They have a personal one, an expressive one, and a bold version, all with a different strength. So the personal is made to be more of a personal scent, more of a skin scent. The expressive sits in the middle, and then the bold one is supposed to project more and be stronger. And it is my general experience with the house too. Now, I have the stronger version of Velvet too, and I will explain the differences shortly, but let me explain what Velvet smells like first. So this type of fragrance I feel like is perfect for date night because it's a sexy, smoky, woody rose fragrance with vanilla and with some spices. Such a good DNA. If you love Margiela's By the Fireplace but want something a little bit more sensual with some rose, you need to check out Velvet. I would say the difference between Velvet Expressive and the bold version is the bold version has more of a smoky vibe to it. This one is a little bit more subtle, and it's why I think it's perfect for date night, because it's just a little bit more sensual. There's some almond in here too, a little bit of coconut. It has some cloves, which adds a spiciness. And then you get lots of vanilla and a smoky kind of birch note. It's an incredible fragrance. I think this one is really sexy. If you don't like fragrances that are too smoky, I would sample either the personal version of Velvet or the expressive version of Velvet. The bold version is a lot more smokier. But this is the perfect balance between a little bit floral, vanillic, sweet, spicy, rose, and smoke. And I feel like this is an incredibly sexy fragrance. It suits more of the sexy date night vibe, not so much the romantic vibe. But Commodity do really good discovery sets, so I would recommend you get the full range of all of the different fragrances to really experience each fragrance and see which one suits you. But if you like the sound of these notes in particular, you can get the discovery set with each 3 scent spaces in it and decide for yourself which one works best for you. Let me know if you have tried Commodity Velvet, and if so, what do you think about it? So those were all of the fragrances that I wanted to go over in today's video. I kept this list a little bit more concise. Of course, I could have included more fragrances in this video, but I don't like to overwhelm too much with my recommendations. So please do let me know what you think about the fragrances that I mentioned today. But what I want to know is, what are your favorite date night fragrances? Please let me know down in the comments below. I will read them all, of course, and I always find the best recommendations in the comments section. But thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure as always. I hope to see you in a future video to come. Thank you so much, and goodbye.